श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. So good evening everybody. In the last class we have talked about the first 5 verses of in the 12th chapter, that is Bhakti Yoga. So we already discussed what is devotion. Devotion is nothing but the trust on God plus love on Him, the unconditional love and the respect towards Him. So when we have these 3 aspects, it translates into, our attitude translates into devotion. That means love comes from the heart and respect comes from the mind. So we are aligning our heart and mind towards the God. That means the Paramatma. But why have to we do this? Because see, we are, as I said, we are living in a world which is continuously changing, and we have to take decisions each time. When a situation changes, our decision making also has to change. So this is how we are tuned, our mind is tuned to constant changes in the world. But for that reason we have to do actions accordingly. That means for every situation our action also changes. So when our action changes, our attitude also must change. How should our attitude be towards an action? When we are working, see, we can work with 2 attitudes, one with a selfish kind of attitude and one with a selfless kind of attitude. So when we are working with a selfish kind of attitude, our mind is also not very pure, because it becomes impure, because that will be associated with some anger, jealousy, all these kinds of impurities. But if we are working for a selfless cause, that means working without any selfishness, that means I am doing some work but not for me. I am working for a larger cause, maybe for a society, maybe for a family, or maybe for a God, for the God's sake. So when our attitude is like this, the action which we are doing will become yoga. That means we can it helps us to reach the God easily. But why should we reach God? See, for everybody, the ultimate goal is to unite with the God. That means, see, we are living as a human being, but the energy which is driving us, that is the internal energy which is driving us, is called the self. We are here only because of that, but we only see the body. We associate ourselves with the body and mind and intellect, but the self which is above all these things has to be understood. When we understand that self, our attitude towards the life and towards the work also changes. So we have to understand this. So when we are working with a love, with an element of love and respect for the God, that devotion aspect, when it associates or when it attaches with the work, it becomes karma yoga. That means we are doing an action, but we are not doing for the sake of ourselves. We are doing for a larger cause, and we are not expecting. The second thing is, we should not work with expectation. When we are not working with expectation, what will happen? Our mind is pure. We don't expect anything. You accept whatever comes to you. Your mind is pure. So whenever your mind is pure, your attitude towards the work and the society also changes. So now we'll see. In the Bhakti Yoga, when we are attaching, when we are associating, or when we are adding the element of devotion, that means the love and respect to God, to the action that we are performing, it becomes something else. So it's not purely material or worldly. It's something else which becomes eternal. So that means it helps us to grow spiritually. That is how this devotion aspect, it helps us to grow spiritually and then do our work correctly and then become pure. Make your mind and intellect pure. That is the basic idea behind devotion. So if somebody asks you, why are you doing puja? We are all doing pujas at home. We all have a puja home at home, puja room at our home. Basically we are all tuned to that kind of living. So but why? purify our mind. But that thing has to be done with a focus. So unless that you purify your mind and you have a focus, you can't concentrate on the God. So that chitta shuddhi and chitta ekagrata. Chitta means mind. So these two are very important concepts that takes us forward. So if you're doing some work, you have to do with a pure mind. Similarly, you have to do it with focus. That means that concentration and focus are very important to do any work. Not only puja, you do any work as worship. That is the concept of devotion. So devotion is doing any work with love and respect towards it, and that is nothing but God. So seeing God in everything is nothing but again nirguna upasana. That means God is all pervading, God is everywhere. So why should I only sit in a puja room and search for God? So you have to search, you have to be able to see God in everything and everywhere. So that is the basic idea of nirguna upasana. But the thing is, we are all, our minds are tuned to saguna upasana. That means if we are able to see God in a photograph or in an idol, we associate easily. So we know that He is all pervading, or everywhere He is there in everything. But still, we associate with Him only when we see Him in a photograph or we see Him with a form. So when we associate with that, our concentration increases. So here Arjuna is asking, which type of devotee is perfect? Like the devotee who sees Paramatma or God in everything, everywhere. That means who goes on a nirguna upasana path. So basically here we are talking about two types of upasana. One is the nirguna upasana, the other is the saguna upasana. That means nirguna upasana means understanding the nature of the Lord and then believing that He is everywhere. I don't need a photograph of Him to focus on Him. That is nirguna upasana. But for that we need a higher level of mind. That means our focus and concentration should be at a much higher level. How do we attain that? We attain that when we are working without any selfishness and without any expectation and with an element of devotion. When we are carrying out our works like that, we can reach to that state. But that cannot happen in overnight. That is a gradual practice. With practice, we have to reach to that state. But before that, if we can't reach to that state, it doesn't mean that we don't do anything in that line. But we can do this with saguna upasana. That means you can see God in an idol, in a photograph, or with a form, and then you pray to Him. Each one of us has our own way of praying to God. Some people pray God in the form of kirtans, some do it in the form of bhajans, some do it in the form of reading stotras. So whatever is the form or whatever is the way of worshipping God, that may differ. But the ultimate idea behind is to inculcate a pure mind. So the idea is only to inculcate a pure mind, then inculcate focus on the God. So why are we taking this name of God? Because see, when we attach, we have that bhakti in us, that means that love and that trust on God. Whatever we do with a kind of confidence. That means there is some supernatural force which is guiding us. When we have that confidence, we do things in a much better manner. So that is the reason we take the name of God. Whenever we are doing anything, we have that confidence in us that, okay, God is there, He will help me. So I have to do things right. So that is what we have to think. So we have to start at this basic level to go to that higher level of nirguna upasana. Okay. Now in the first 5 verses, Arjuna had asked, who is the perfect devotee? The devotee who is doing the nirguna upasana or the devotee who is doing the saguna upasana? Then how did the Lord respond? He said, whatever upasana you are doing, you have to have 3 elements. That is, he is saying, Mayaveshya manoemam. That means you have to fix me in your mind. Mayaveshya manoemam nityayukta upasate. And then you have to worship me always, at every time. Not at one point of time, always. Nityayukta upasate. Upasate means worshipping. Nityayukta upasate. Shraddhaya parayopetaha. That means you have to do this with a kind of sincerity. Shraddha. Shraddha means trust, having the trust and then exhibiting that sincerity. So when you do like this, that is a perfect devotion. So the devotee who has these three qualities is a perfect devotee, he is saying. So he is not mentioning whether you are doing a nirguna upasana or a saguna upasana, but you have these three qualities, then you are a perfect devotee. That we have to understand. Then he says, he talks about his 8 qualities of his nirguna tattva. Yetvakshara manirdeshyam avyaktam paryupasate sarvatra gamachintyancha kutastha dhruvam. He has given 8 qualities which we have described in the previous class. You can go back and listen to that, the meaning of these 8 words. That means he has described 8 qualities of his nature. We have to understand that nature and then do the upasana. Then what he is saying, how do you do the upasana even after understanding? Sanniyamyendriya gramam sarvatra samabuddhayah te prapnuvanti mameva sarva bhuta hite rataha. That means you have to control all your sense organs, because we are associated with the external world. See, I am an internally, I am a person. But what is happening? I am associating with the external world through the sense organs. See, I am seeing something that is recording in my brain. I am hearing something that is recording in my brain. I am eating something that taste is recorded in the brain. Likewise, something is touching me, that touch is recorded in the brain. That means we are associating with the external world. See, if I am internally, I am something else, but I am externally, I am associating with the external world through the sense organs, and the mind is responding in a as it is receiving the signals from outside, the mind will respond in a similar way. Suppose you are seeing a dog, what does the mind say immediately? The dog will bite you, you run. So immediately we take that action. Similarly, you hear a sound, suppose you are hearing an alarm, you are in the school and you are hearing an alarm. That means, oh, the school is over, I have to go now. That means the mind responds immediately. When the sense organs are taking something from the external world, the mind will respond. When the mind responds, what does our intellect say? We have to act. So these things are related. Your sense organ, you're taking something from the external world with the sense organs, the mind will respond and the intellect will say whether to act or not. So what is happening? We do an action accordingly. So what is the main reason for acting? Because we are taking the outside things into our mind or our brain. So what is he saying? If you have to focus on the God, if you have to become a perfect devotee, first he is saying control your senses. See, here one thing we have to, we are taking the name of God, but we are talking about maintaining ourselves or doing our actions perfectly. So when you are controlling all your senses, what is happening? Your focus increases. You won't deviate. So that is the reason he is saying, if you have to become a perfect devotee, that means if you have to do your action correctly, if you have to do your action without deviating, you have to control your senses. Sanniyamyendriya gramam. That means all the senses you have to control, not 1 or 2 senses. What 5 sense organs we have to control them all together along with the mind and intellect. So when we control them, our deviations are less. That means our focus will increase, our concentration will increase. That way, either you are doing the puja or you are singing a song or you are reciting a hymn, whatever it is, your deviations are less. That means first we have to prepare our mind to control our sense organs. Then sarvatra samabuddhayaha. That means you have to be stable at all times. Samabuddhi. That means your emotions should be stable. See, whenever we come across a particular situation, our emotions start changing. You see a good thing, you get a good emotion. You see a bad thing, you get a bad emotion. So these emotions will work on your intellect. So the mind is the main thing for all these things. The emotions will be developed in the mind, but your intellect will say whether this emotion is correct or wrong. So our mind and intellect should always be aligned. If we don't align, the thing is the mind, something will happen in the mind, the intellect won't support you. So you end up doing a wrong thing, or you end up taking a wrong decision, and our attitude to the whole thing changes. And it sometimes it may be unrepairable also. So we end up getting bad results. So what the thing is, you have to take anything in a positive manner and try to be stable at all times. Whatever is the situations will change, but the emotions should not change. So that is the reason he is saying Sarvatra Samabuddhayaha. The ultimate goal of everybody, all of us, is being happy. Correct? So how to be happy? So when you eliminate all these external factors, the inner self, which is the actual self, when you recognize that self, that is the actual place of happiness. So when we remove all these external factors, we are left with the inner self. So that is the place of happiness. So that we have to work towards removing all the external factors which are entering our brain through the sense organs. Once we do this, being happy is the next level. So first level is we have to attempt from our side. So that is a preparatory action first of all. So what we have to do is we have to try to eliminate all the external factors and then understand what is our self, and then try to focus on our internal self. That will give us the happiness. That is the place where we find happiness. See, there's a small story. Somebody, it seems they have lost a pen. Something they have lost. Something has fell out of their hands. They have lost. So they have to search for that. What they are doing is, they have lost at one place. They were searching at a different place. Then the teacher asked them, some students. So the teacher called that student and asked, what is that you are searching for? Then he said, I have lost my pen, so I am searching it. But where did you lose it? I lost it at this place. Then why are you searching there? Because there is light over there, I am searching there. The place where he lost the pen, there is no light, so that is ignorance. So what he thought was, there is light in that place, so I'll go and search over there. But he has to search where he has lost. This is ignorance. Most of us do this. Actually, we want something at one place, but we start searching at a different place. Suppose we want happiness, or we want some calm mind. How do we get that? That is within ourselves. But we don't understand that. We start searching it outside. Like we start searching at a family level, or at a society level, or at a professional level. So we start searching for this happiness outside, which is actually internally. So we have to understand. So when we understand that, we can connect to the external factors as temporary ones, and the permanent one is ourself. So whenever we understand that, we try to keep ourselves happy. Keep yourself happy. That is how this phrase has come. Keep yourself happy means you leave the external things and travel inside. When you travel inside yourself, you can find happiness within yourself. So within yourself, how to correct that? See, when you see when a situation happens, what will happen is it happens at the external level. So maybe we see that at a body level or a physical level. Then from the physical level, see, this we can explain like this. See, our gross body, we have 5 layers. Like Annamaya Kosha, the 5 koshas we say. Annamaya Kosha is at the physical level. Then Pranamaya Kosha, that means at the breathing level. Manomaya Kosha at the mind level. Vijnanamaya Kosha at the intellect level, and Anandamaya Kosha, that is the ultimate self. So when we understand that when some situation occurs, or when a thing happens, we are actually looking from the physical level. So see, I am Jyotsna, something happened at my home, so I look at it at a physical level. This translates to the mind actually. When it translates to the mind responds in a different way. Accordingly, whatever happens, suppose a thief comes into my house, what will happen? My mind responds saying, no, you have to catch that thief, give him nicely and bring back your things if he has taken something from your house. Then what your intellect says, okay, this is a temporary thing, why do you want to run behind that thief? Because he must have gone a very far way. Even if you run behind him, you won't get him. But our mind won't accept, no, I have to get that thief, I have to get my things back. So here there's a conflict between the mind and intellect. The buddhi is always right. The buddhi tries to correct the mind, because it analyzes the situation. But the mind won't analyze, it only responds. So the thing is, I'll go behind the thief, run behind him, maybe I'll give a police complaint, I will spend some 1 week or 10 days of time on that. If needed, I'll spend some thousands of rupees also, I'll put a lawyer, all these things will happen. It's a vicious circle. Now suppose, then finally I may get my things or I may not get my things, that's a different thing. But all this exercise will happen. But if I listen to my intellect and say, okay, follow, chalo, whatever is lost is a temporary thing. Okay, I am happy, I am safe. He did not do anything to me. I am happy, my children are happy, we are all safe. If I think that way and let him go, that's much more better way. But what do? We opt for the second thing, the first thing, going behind him and making our life miserable. If we listen to our intellect, maybe we'll be happy. So that happiness is within ourselves. When we listen to the intellect, our self also is elevated. So that we have to understand. So we search for happiness outside instead of searching it inside. So this is the basic thing we all have to understand. So that is why he is saying sarvatra samabuddhayaha. Then te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhuta hite rataha. And he says, you always think about me, and then you treat everybody equally. Sarvabhuta hite rataha. So this is how you can worship me in the nirguna form. That means you be with stable mind, you treat everybody equally, think about me, control your senses. Then that is how you can do the nirguna form. First understand my form, you apply all these things, then you will be happy within yourself. And that is the God. The God is within yourself. When God is everywhere, He is within yourself also. So you should be able to find God within yourself. That is the nirguna upasana. Okay. But what he is saying, kleshodhikatarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukham dehavad bhiravapyate. What is he saying? But whoever is taking this path of nirguna upasana, they find difficulties, they fall into difficulties because adhikatarastesham, he is saying, kleshaha adhikatarastesham. That means their difficulties are at a greater level, because see, when he is giving that rule, sanniyam yendriya gramam, that means you have to control your senses, be with a stable mind, and then treat everybody equally. All these rules which he has given, and then understanding his nirguna nature with those 8 qualities. What are those 8 qualities? Akshara, yetvakshara, anirdeshyam, avyaktam, paryupasate, that means worshipping. Sarvatragam, achintyam, kutastham, achalam, dhruvam. 8 qualities he has given. That means that is after understanding the nature of the Lord in the Nirguna Tattva, and then preparing yourself by controlling your mind and senses, and then being stable, acting or being stable at all times, and then treating everybody equally, this is not so easy. So he has given the route for Nirguna Upasana. The Lord by himself gave that, these 3 rules. But can we do them? Is it so easy? If you have to do them, you need thorough practice, and it may take years also for us to reach that state. But it's not, everybody can't do that, because we are in a social life and society. So it's not so easy to get to that level. But we can prepare ourselves slowly by understanding these all things. We can understand and then slowly raise to that level. But how to raise to that level? Okay, I don't do Nirguna Upasana because the Lord himself said that it is very difficult. So should I leave Upasana? No. He has again given alternatives. See, the Lord is so, he's putting his gratitude on everybody. That means whoever can't do Nirguna Upasana can do Saguna Upasana and then get closer to me. That then from 6th to 11th verses, 6th to 12th, he's talking about the Saguna Upasana. Okay, you can't do Nirguna Upasana because it is tough. Only few people can reach to that level of doing Nirguna Upasana. Don't worry, then do the Saguna Upasana. He is giving the route map for Saguna Upasana from 6th to 12th shlokas. So now we'll see them. See, until now I have given a snapshot of whatever we did in the previous class for whoever missed that. But you can go back and listen to the 8 qualities of the Nirguna Tattva, and then correlate with today's class. Okay. So now we'll go to the 6th shloka. So how do then what is he saying here? He's saying Yetu sarvani karmani mayi sanyasya matparaha ananyenaiva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate. That means, okay, don't worry if you are not able to do the Nirguna Upasana. Don't worry, you can do the Saguna Upasana and get closer to me. That means you can inculcate that godly nature in yourself by doing the Saguna Upasana also. How? He is saying, see, whoever is dedicating all their actions, that means Yetu sarvani karmani, that means all their actions, whatever actions they are doing. See, we do an n number of actions from the time we wake up till we sleep. We do n number of actions. So whatever action you are doing, if you think you are not doing it for yourself, you are doing it for a larger cause, then your mind is half purified, because you don't have any selfish motive in that. Suppose I am cooking food. If I think I am cooking food for only myself, I will only eat. It's not so. I am cooking the food for the family. The family members are eating that, and then they are growing. That means I am doing it for a larger cause. Likewise, I am teaching somebody. It's not for any selfish motive. So the child, whoever is learning, will grow with the teaching I am doing. So whatever work we are doing, if we think we are doing it for a larger cause, that means it's like dedicating our actions to the Lord. So we are not do it with a selfless attitude. That is, dedicating all actions to the Lord means do it with selfless attitude. Mayi sanyasya matparaha. Matparaha means regarding, you consider me as the supreme goal. Now what is the supreme goal? Getting liberated from the sorrow. Okay, that means we have to be happy and we don't want sorrows. The goal for all of us is that we have to be happy, we don't want sorrows. When your goal is clear, so you work towards that. How to give up sorrows? By dedicating your actions to the Lord. Because if you are doing it with a selfish motive, your attitude is also like that. Because when you're doing with a selfless motive, whatever is the result, it's fine. You don't feel bad or good, irrespective of the result. But if you're doing with a selfish motive and if it's not favorable to you, your mind is not stable. So that is the reason he is saying, he is giving a very good tip. Dedicate all actions to me, you will be happy. So leave it from your end. Throw the ball in my court, I will make you happy. That is what he is saying. Then ananyenaiva yogena. That means here yogena means devotion. So with ultimate devotion you do. What is devotion? Again, love towards the God and respect towards the God. So you fill your heart with the God and with mind with the God. Where do you experience love? In the heart. Where you experience respect? In the mind. So when you are aligning these two things with the God, that means your devotion, you are a perfect devotee. So first you align these two things. So when you are with ananyanaiva yogena, he's saying with perfection, with devotion. With perfect devotion, if you are doing, if you are dedicating all your actions to me, also that is a worship. Okay, that means you are worship, you consider a physical form of God, you think about him. Okay, I am doing, suppose you are doing suppose cooking. Okay, I am doing it in the name of God and my family will feed on it. Or that is one way of thinking. So what he is saying, so whoever is dedicating all actions to me, that means to the God, regarding me as the supreme goal, and how do you worship him? Saguna upasana. That means you worship him in a physical form. Nirguna form we are not talking about now. This here is talking about only the Saguna form, because Nirguna form is over. Whoever is not eligible to that has to worship him only in the Saguna form. So now he is saying, so how do you do that? Worship me and meditate upon me. That means if you are considering a physical form of a God, and then if you are worshipping that physical form of God with perfect devotion, with ultimate devotion, then also then also they are perfect devotees. That means you need not do the Nirguna Upasana only. You can do the Saguna Upasana by dedicating, by worshipping a physical form of mind and dedicating all your actions to me. See how simple it is. We need not understand all that Nirguna Tattva of the God. We can take a physical form, sit before the God, worship him, and then what? Oh God, I am giving all my actions to you. So help me out. So whatever in my regular activities, that is what we have to do. Then in the 7th shloka also he is saying, this is 6th and 7th also. In the 6th shloka he is saying how to worship in the Saguna form. In the 7th shloka he is talking about the result. If you are worshipping in the Saguna form, what will happen? He is saying, Tesham aham samuddharta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami nachirat partha maya veshita chetasam. So what is he saying? Okay, if you are worshipping me in Saguna form, what will you get? If you are worshipping me in the Nirguna form, your mind is purified, your actions, all your actions you are doing with a selfless motive, and then you will be liberated from your sorrows, you will be very happy. The same thing is obtained even in the Saguna form. So what is he saying? He is saying, so what if you do like this, if you are worshipping me in the Saguna form, don't think I won't liberate you. Even then you will be liberated from your sorrows. Not only Nirguna form, even in the Saguna form, you will be liberated from your sorrows. So what is he saying? Whoever is worshipping me in the Saguna form, in the physical form also, I will benefit them by liberating from the ocean of birth and death. Mrityu samsara sagarat, he is saying. He is, this is a metaphor, like he is saying, he is comparing this, our life with an ocean of birth and death. That means, see, according to our Advaita Vedanta or our scriptures, what the thing is, we undergo a number of cycles of birth and death before merging with the Lord. So with that thing he is saying, I will liberate you from this cycle of births and death. So we can understand it this way also. See, you need not go to that level of understanding, but even here in the on the earth when we are living, see, we come across many circumstances. It's like our life is like an ocean. You can compare it with an ocean. So if you are in the ocean, you have to go in a boat, correct? You can't swim directly. All of us are not so talented to swim an ocean and go to a particular place. So we have to go in a ship or a boat. So that ship or a boat can be considered as the god, because or a guidance. So that ship or boat will be taking us to the other side of the ocean. That means if you have to reach a place through the ocean, or we have to go to only through the boat or ship. Otherwise, what will happen? You have to give up. I mean, there will be many whales, many fishes, all these things in the ocean. So you have to cross all these things and then go. If you are swimming by yourself, you have to cross all these things and go. But if you are sitting in a boat, you will go easily, because the boatman will take care of you. He is the navigator of your life at that point of time. So likewise, we have to depend on the God, or we have to put our life in the hands of God, so that we can cross this ocean of life easily. So when we have that trust and devotion on God, He will take care of us. So whatever action you are performing, and that you one thing we have to remember, whatever action we are performing, we have to perform with selfless attitude. So when you are performing an action with a selfless attitude and with devotion, your work is done. So, and you, without any expectation, don't expect anything from the work. You take whatever comes to you as a prasada. So here two important things. Do it with Ishwararpana Buddhi. Do your actions with Ishwararpana Buddhi and Prasada Buddhi. When these two things are there, your work is done. That's it. So your goal of happiness is reached. So this is not one day thing. This has to be followed lifelong. So as long as we are here, that has to be followed. That attitude has to be maintained. So he is saying, whoever is worshipping me in the Saguna form also, I will benefit them by liberating them from this ocean of life and death. So if you are in an ocean, either you have to go in a boat or swim. So if you are swimming by yourself, it's very difficult. So take a boat. The boatman will help you to reach to your destination. So that is how it is. So I will liberate you. How the boatman helps you to cross that ocean easily, the God also helps you to cross this life which is like an ocean easily. So that is how He is benefiting us. So leave it to do your work and leave the result to me. That is what He is saying precisely. So what He is saying, even whoever is, so that I will benefit them, whoever is worshipping me in the Saguna form, by liberating them from the ocean of life and death. And that is precisely liberating them from the sorrow. So the sorrow is coming because we are living a life. Because every point we are encountering some challenges. That is the reason we are taking the sorrows. We own them. When you don't own any circumstance or any result, there is no sorrow. First thing is, we want happiness, we don't want sorrow. But where is the happiness and where is the sorrow? Happiness is within ourselves, sorrow is outside. So we end up taking the sorrow, we end up owning the sorrow and say, I am not happy. First of all, we have to give up the external side. Don't own them. When you don't own them, there is no sorrow. So that attitude you have to develop. So the 6th and 7th shlokas he is saying how to worship in the Saguna form and what is the result of worshipping in the Saguna form. 6th and 7th shlokas are, he is precisely talking about how to worship in the Saguna form. That means dedicate all actions to me and worship me with ultimate devotion. Then I will benefit you with the liberation of sorrow. The sorrow is in this life. Because we are living a life on this, between so many people and between so many things, and in a dynamic world, sorrows are coming because of that. So when you don't own them, there is no sorrow. Next, 8th to 11th shlokas, he highlights how devotees following the Saguna path can reach him. That means he is giving 4 alternatives. These 4 shlokas are very interesting because we can really relate our own experiences and then put ourselves in those one of the 4 alternatives and then carry out our journey with that. So we'll see the 8th shloka. 8th shloka is Mayyeva mana adhatsva mayi buddhim niveshaya nivasishyasi mayyeva ata urdhvam na samshayaha. So what is he saying here? He is explaining how to worship him by highlighting two points. One thing is he's saying fix your mind on me. That means fix your mind on me alone, not on anything else. So don't think about anything else. Just fix your mind on me. Mayyeva mana adhatsva. Manaha means mind. Adhatsva means fix. So mayyeva mana adhatsva. Fix your mind on me. Mayi buddhim niveshaya. And then he's saying you surrender your intellect to me. Here buddhim means intellect. Niveshaya means surrender. So here is 2 points he is highlighting. One thing is fix your mind on me, and second is surrender your intellect to me. If you do that, what will happen? Nivasishyasi mayeva. If you do that, he is saying you will always live in me. Nivasishyasi mayeva. Thereafter, that means if you are fixing your mind on me and surrendering your intellect to me, after that what will happen? You will be in me. Ata urdhvam na samshayaha. There is no doubt in that. So that means if you have to reach God, what you have to do? You have to fix your mind on Him and surrender your intellect to Him. So as I said earlier, our mind and intellect are two things which always on the opposite ends. The mind desires something, but the intellect which analyzes and which knows what is right and wrong, it tries to counter with the mind. So whenever we are taking something from the outside, the mind will respond with some desire or whatever. I want that. If you are seeing an ice cream, suppose your mind says I have to eat that. Suppose it is night. Then the intellect will say no, don't eat that. This is night time. You will catch cold. But will you listen to the intellect or no? That if you listen to your intellect, you won't eat that ice cream at that time and you are safe. But if you are going against the intellect, that means your mind is dominating your intellect. What will happen? You will go and eat the ice cream, you will catch cold, you will get fever, and then you will end up taking leave from your office or school for 2-3 days. So intellect and mind are always on the two opposite ends. So if we are able to listen to our intellect, we are on the safer side. So now the Lord is highlighting that you surrender your intellect to me. That means you focus your intellect, you focus on me. Here focusing on means focus on your work. So fix your mind on me. You can also understand like this, fix your mind on the work you are doing, and surrender means use your intellect to do your work correctly. Then what will happen? You are happy. So these all things are to ultimately to gain happiness and give up sorrow. So whatever the Lord is saying here, that is all to gain happiness. So he is saying you fix your mind on me, surrender your intellect to me, you shall always live in me. That means you will inculcate that godly nature in your heart or in yourself. That means you are again elevating yourself. So when you are doing correct things, doing things correctly, yourself is elevated. You are happy that way. So suppose we are doing a wrong thing. Okay, your mind convinces convinces the intellect and you will do the wrong thing. Then what will happen? You will get a bad result, and finally you may convince yourself, but the intellect won't agree. There is a higher thing called chittam, that is the conscience we say, conscious. That will end up, you can't convince your consciousness. You may convince your intellect also, but not your consciousness. So when you are conscious at these 3 levels, you are happy, or when you are doing things correctly, you are happy at these 3 levels, at the level of your mind, at the level of your intellect, and even at the level of your consciousness. So when these 3 things are aligning and you are doing, when you are happy at these 3 levels, automatically yourself is also happy. So that is how we can be happy at the level of ourself. But what we do is we search it outside. So he is saying you fix on me. That means fix on yourself. Try to find happiness in yourself. Then and he is saying, okay, you can't do that. So this is all he is attaching to the concept of devotion. That means when we talk about the love and the respect towards the God, we are attaching that concept of devotion to our work. So ultimately we have to work and gain happiness from that. So we are attaching a concept of devotion to our work. Then what he is saying in the 9th chapter, okay, I am asking you to fix your mind on me and surrender your intellect to me. Suppose you can't do that. Atha chittam samadhatum. Suppose here he is using the word chittam. That means consciousness. Earlier he used the word buddhim. That means at the intellect level you surrender to me. Then at the conscious level you will be happy. But suppose you are not able to surrender to me at the buddhi, at the intellect level, then if you are not able to fix your mind on me, that means your consciousness is not pure. You are unable to fix your mind on me. Then what he is saying, atha chittam samadhatum na shaknoshi maisthiram. That means if you are not able to fix your mind on me, na shaknoshi maisthiram, abhyasa yogena tataha mavichaptum dhananjaya. So he is giving a tip here. Second, it's the first alternative. If you fix your mind on me and surrender your intellect to me, that there's nothing like that. You will be always with me and you will get that ultimate happiness. But suppose you are not able to fix your mind on me, he is giving a tip. Practice fixing your mind on me. Abhyasa yogena tataha. With repeated practice, you try to fix your mind on me. Mam means me. That means on God. Ichaptum. That means aptum. That means you have to have the desire to attain or to reach that godly nature or to attain that godly nature. You have to have that icha, desire. You can, other way is also you can understand like this. You can give up the worldly desires. One thing is, icha is two meanings you can understand. Icha aptum. One is desire to attain God. The same word icha can also be understood like give up the worldly desires. So when you give up the worldly desires, when you give up the worldly desires, your concentration or the focus will fix on the God. Suppose you're sitting in a puja room, you hear to some song where your children are playing TV or something, you're sitting in the puja room. If you're diverting to that movie, what will happen? You come out and watch that movie. No, I won't give up. I don't want all those worldly pleasures. I will sit here. So close your eyes, close your ears and continue with your puja. So that is how you have to practice. That's only a small example. There are a number of examples like that. So whenever you are engaging in a work and you are getting diverted, you have to come back. That comes only with practice. That is the practice he is talking about. So if you are not able to focus your mind on something, practice. You give up the worldly desires, give up the sensual pleasures and then concentrate on your work. That will happen automatically. When you give up all those things, your concentration will fix on the work automatically. If it is puja or even your work also. Likewise. So his first small tip he has given, if you are not able to fix your mind and intellect on me or on your work, then practice. And he is using the word Dhananjaya here. That means Dhananjaya means Arjuna. He is saying, you try to conquer your worldly pleasures and sensual desires for the sake of your work. Work is God. So work is God, work is worship. That's it. So you are attaching the concept of devotion to your work. That is why Bhakti Yoga is very important. Because Bhakti, you cannot see devotion independently. You have to attach it to your work. Then only you will find that happiness. You will be able to gain that kind of happiness. Okay. Then in the 10th shloka, what he is saying? First thing is, he is saying fix your mind or an intellect on me. If you are not able to do that, he has given an alternative. Do practice. You practice. If you are not able to do that also, he is giving another alternative. Abhyasepya samarthosi. That means abhyasa api asamarthaha. That means if you are not able to do the practice also, matkarma paramo bhava. Matkarma paramaha bhava. That means you work for the sake of me. How do you work? Working for the sake of me means Then madarthamapi karmani, that tip also he is only giving. Madarthamapi karmani kurvan siddhim avapsyasi. That means you do the work for the sake of me. It's again the same thing. So you do the work selflessly, not with a selfish motive, but with a selfless motive, or work for a larger cause. When you are working for a larger cause and with a selfless motive, even then you will become perfect in devotion, he is saying. So that is also a kind of devotion. You need not sit in a puja room and do puja to be a perfect devotee. You can also do your work without any selfishness and with the kind of worship. If you are doing with your work with a for a larger, you are working for a larger cause and with a selfless motive, then also you will become a perfect devotee, he is saying. Then in the 11th shloka is saying, now two alternatives he has given. First thing is saguna upasana. You have to fix your mind and intellect on me. If you are not able to do so, do the practice. Even if you are not able to do that practice also, you work for a larger cause and with selfless motive, then also you will become a perfect devotee. Okay, if you are not able to do this also, then he is giving another alternative. Athaitadapya shaktosi kartum madyogamashritah sarva karma phalatyagam tatah kuruyatatmavan. So here he is saying, he is giving another alternative. Suppose you are not able to do work for the sake of Lord. That means you are not able to work for a larger cause with a selfless motive. Then what is he saying? Okay, there is another alternative. You give up the fruits of action. That means whatever action you are doing, you leave the result to me. You take that result as a prasad. Then also you will be a perfect devotee. So what is he saying? So small tips he is giving. First is fix your mind and intellect. If you are not able to do that, you practice. If you are not able to practice, that means fixing your mind on me. Then you work for a larger cause. You do actions for my sake, not for yourself. Then if you are not able to do that also, okay, there is no problem. Then you renounce all the fruits of actions. That means you do your duty and sit calmly. Whatever whatever result you are getting, you accept that. That is the easiest way. That is the last option he has given. So now in the 12th shloka, what is he saying? After giving the four alternatives, in the 12th, here one thing is, if you are giving the fruits of action, our mind becomes pure. So how to attain that purity of mind? From here we have to start. Give up the fruits of action, then your mind becomes pure, then try to concentrate. When your mind is pure, you don't take the external things into your mind, because all the impurities are gone. Impurities like anger, desire, lust, all these things are gone. When all these things are gone, when you give up the fruits of action, automatically you are free of these impurities. When your mind is free, that means you are able to think about the Lord at a higher level. So that is how we have to grow spiritually. First you start from here. Then you reach to that matkarma. That means when you are giving up the fruits of action, your mind becomes pure. When your mind is pure, you will be able to work with a selfless attitude. When you are working with a selfless attitude, you will be able to practice fixing your mind on God. That means practicing meditation. Then you will reach to the first alternative. So we have to, if you have to reach to the 10th floor, you can't go directly. You have to go from the first floor, second floor, third floor, so on and so forth. Then only you will reach to the 10th floor. Suppose you have to go to the terrace on the 10th floor, either you have to take the staircase or the lift. You can't go directly. Similarly, even in the devotion or in the action, even in the karma yoga also, when you see, ultimately, precisely we are talking about karma only. Even if we are attaching the concept of devotion to this, we are talking about karma yoga. So when you are doing your actions perfectly with the concept of devotion, you will attain that state of happiness in a easy manner. in a perfect manner. So here he is saying they are all my devotees. Devotees in the sense we are getting nearer to the God. So whatever energy we have in ourselves, we have to align with the external energy, with the supreme energy, with the cosmic energy. So how to align our energy with this? By following this path of devotion and action. That's it. So there's no other route. So you can only get align yourself with the higher energy by through the roots of action and devotion. So when you are aligning these two things, you can align yourself, your energy with the higher energy easily. So that is the ultimate goal of all of us. So we have to be happy and give up sorrow. And now he is saying in the 12th shloka, Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasat jnanat dhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma phalatyagaha tyagat shantiranantaram. So here he is bringing the concept of shanti, that means peace, happiness. So we are all craving for that happiness and peace. So how do you get that peace? He is saying. First thing is Shreyaha hi jnanam abhyasat. That means, see, we all do many monotonous actions. Even in the, suppose you do many bhajans, you do many kirtans, you do pujas, you do homas, whatever you are doing, these are all karma. That means physical karmas we are doing. They are all physically, we are performing those actions, but we are performing those actions monotonously. There's no use if you are performing those actions monotonously. You have to perform them with the knowledge. So he's saying Shreyaha hi jnanam. What is jnanam? Know about yourself, know about the Lord, and then perform the action. So if you perform the action with knowledge, that's a better proposition. Instead of doing it monotonously, you perform it with action. With knowledge. So performing the action with knowledge is a better proposition. But mere knowledge also won't be sufficient. Dhyanam, he's saying with the knowledge you fix your mind on the God. That is through dhyanam. So better than the abhyasam, that means monotonous performance of actions, better than that is gaining knowledge. So do it with knowledge. Suppose, but mere knowledge won't be sufficient. You have to know the Lord and then fix your mind on Him through meditation. So, first thing is abhyasa, practice. Better than that is jnanam. Better than that is dhyanam. So, see, he is giving the steps to liberate ourselves from sorrow and gain happiness. It's so beautiful. This verse is the ultimate. If you understand this verse, we know what to do and what not to do in our course of actions. Okay. Then dhyanam. Then the jnana dhyanam visishyate. That means dhyanam is better than knowledge. That means you know the Lord with meditation. Fix your mind on Him. Then try to get nearer to Him. Align yourself with Him. Then dhyanat karma phalatyagaha. Even dhyanam is better. But for you to be happy instantly, the karma tyagat shantiranantaram. That means if you have to be happy instantly, you give up the fruits of action. So if you give up the fruits of action, you will be happy at that very instant because you are not expecting anything. So whatever you are getting, you are taking. So that means there is peace of mind instantly. But if you are doing other things also, abhyasam, jnanam and dhyanam also, over a period of time you will be happy. But if you have to be happy instantly, give up the fruits of action. So that is what he is saying in the 12th shloka. So from the 6th shloka, the Lord has talked about the Saguna Upasana, how to do and what is the result of doing Saguna Upasana. And from 8 to 12, 8 to 11 he has given 4 alternatives like how to do his Upasana. That means the sadhanas. How to improve yourself as a sadhaka and how to become a better sadhaka and how to improve your sadhana. Sadhana means practice. So, practice of devotion and action. So, you can better yourself. At each time, you can analyze yourself and where we are standing and how to better ourselves. So if you know these 4 alternatives, you can better yourself, become better at every point of time. In what way? Improve your action and gain happiness. That's all. Then in the 12th shloka, he is saying, he is between the abhyasa and jnanam is better, and between jnanam and dhyanam is better, because you will have that opportunity to know Lord in a better manner. Because if you are meditating with the focused mind and pure mind, you are making your internal journey, and then you are knowing about yourself, you are knowing about the God. So that is how meditation helps us. So meditation is better. But even these are all over a period of time, you will have happiness. You will know about yourself, you will know about the Lord, then you will get happiness. But if you have to be happy instantly, you work, do your duty, but don't expect anything from that. Give up the fruits of action. Then you will have that peace of mind instantly. Tyagat chanti, anantaram. Immediately you will have that benefit of happiness. So these are the 12. Now we will close here with this 12th shloka. Then 13th to 20th shloka, the Lord talks about the qualities of a perfect devotee or a perfect yogi. So whoever is wants to become nearer to him, or they want to inculcate the godly nature in them, they have to follow those qualities. So from 13th to 20th shloka, he has given maybe some 35 qualities he will be discussing. So we all will discuss that in the next class. For now we will close, and yeah. ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे एतत् फलं श्री सद्गुरु दिव्य चरणारविन्दार्पणमस्तु सर्वं श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु।